Welcome to The Pause, the Hush Hour podcast in which I, Alicia Davis, sound healer and meditation guide, chat to people I find inspirational and fascinating, and I hope you will too. I first came across Medyhne Lebachen during one of those YouTube roundtable discussions that became so popular during the pandemic. I was struck by the similarity between the guided meditation she delivered and the kind of imagery that I use in mine. And when I discovered that Medyhne is also a spiritual life coach, healer, psychic, and a gifted singer-songwriter, I decided to make a connection. In this podcast, we interview each other.
Okay, great. Well, my name's Medyhne and my channel is Arise Humanity on YouTube and on Patreon. And I also have a website, medyhne.com. And I am a holistic health practitioner, energy healer, I guess you could say a teacher, I guess, of different spiritual concepts. And I am very excited to be talking to my lovely friend in the UK, Alicia. And she's going to introduce herself, and we're going to talk about all sorts of things. We actually had a wonderful chat. It was so good. It was full of great information, really juicy, fabulous. But we got to the end and then we realised it hadn't recorded properly. So
Yeah,
a really great video there. But that's okay because we're doing it today.
Yeah, and I'm sure, it's going to be the first of many, I should say.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So please feel welcome to introduce yourself, Alicia.
Okay, I will. So I'm Alicia. I have a Huna name now from
beautiful.
Flash.
Yeah.
My Huna name is Mariatuma.
Wow.
So I'm now calling myself Alicia Mariatuma.
Beautiful.
Which kind of fits quite nicely. It means one who sees first light guarantees to confirm first light. And I like that. It kind of resonates. I hate using that word, but it resonates with me. So I think it also balances out my first name quite nicely. I'm a sound healer. I'm a musician primarily, which is another reason I think probably why we clicked.
Yes, I forgot to mention I'm a musician as well.
Yes, you did. Yeah, that's on my list to talk to you about. Mm-hmm. And so I've been a musician for 30 years, and I'm also an artist and a writer, and I run a sound healing practice in the UK. I also now have some recordings, so I guess that makes me more international now. I have more international availability. I work with planet gongs and singing bowls and a guided, I'm more and more beginning to channel my meditations before the gong baths now. So it's interesting where it's going. It's getting very mythical, actually. As I heard this topic come up, I was listening to you chatting to Todd Medyhne when I was doing my research, and I heard the topic of dragons come up. Well, they keep popping in to my meditations, and also, of course, Huna Flash is all about dragons, so I think it's obviously current.
They really are a theme this year, aren't they? They've really come to the fore, I think, this year. They've been popping up all over the place. These, in the meditations and obviously working with us with this earthly transition that we're going through.
I know. No, it's I think when you finally stop fighting being mystical, then why the hell not? You start you can start to enjoy that mystical relationship that you have with other, whether they're symbolic or actual, it doesn't matter in a way, because it's an element of earth, it's an element of who we are. And absolutely. I just think it's really important not to tune that aspect of yourself out. So I try to incorporate all of that into my gong baths, and I just say to people before I start, I'm sorry, I'm going full woo. If you don't like it, just listen to it as if it's a story. But otherwise, work with me and see what happens.
Human beings aren't that really imaginative to be able to think these things up. They all, I find, everything like that comes from a reality of truth, and we know that we are not able to see all the different dimensional realms, and there is folklore about so many different things, and I think they all have a grain of truth there, or we wouldn't have they wouldn't be a concept that we have. And the same with dragons. I know I posted a video recently on a Telegram site of a friend, and there was a comment from a professional. Oh my God, I'm not listening to this. She's mentioning dragons. And I thought, well, you know what? It's time to really expand our thinking, because if you think that's something that's going to, throw you, wait till you hear that our whole history is actually been manufactured, and that and that everything that we knew to be true pretty much is been inverted. So I think it's time to really change the way that we think about everything.
I think, and we are mystical by nature. It's just that we've been taught to deny it.
Yes, absolutely.
This is what's really interesting, is that we've been so conditioned from birth not to think about these things, and yet, I'm sure a lot more people than admit it have had visions or experiences. I mean, I had them from childhood, not all the time. I'm sure I think you were more attuned probably than me at that age. But I saw, I think I told you before, a ghost ship, like a clipper ship, and we were sitting on Brighton Beach. I don't know if you know Brighton, but it's on the south coast of the UK, and
we have a Brighton in Victoria, but a lot of our names come from from the UK anyway. So. Yeah.
So we were sitting on Brighton Beach looking out to sea, and I saw in front of me this humongous clipper, but it had no depth. It was just like a shadow, and with all the rigging, and I could see the shapes. It was facing forwards, I think. And you could just see it in the sails and the rigging down the sides, and it was enormous.
Amazing. What did you think about that at that age? Did it scare you?
On it. No, I wasn't frightened in the least. I wasn't scared. Yeah. And I think, fortunately, my mother also saw it, because she never denied it.
Fantastic.
And she didn't tell me, "Oh, don't be so silly," you didn't imagine, you didn't see that.
Wow.
So that was fortunate. We had our disagreements later on, but at least, she didn't shut that down.
Oh, good. So it's really interesting how our ability to view these different dimensional realms is really expanding right now, because I believe that the frequency is shifting on the earth, and we're becoming more and more energetically at a higher frequency all the time. And so our abilities, our psychic abilities, our spiritual gifts are really becoming more and more obvious and more heightened. Things like telepathy and, psychic abilities and things.
Yeah.
So have you noticed a big shift just recently in the expansion of these gifts and abilities?
Yes, totally. And I'm aware. I've suddenly become aware of my plant that's just here. I just felt it sort of tune in. I'm very aware of the energy of plants, but also I get a lot of guidance, a lot of intuitive guidance. I guess from my oversoul, from my higher self, whatever you want to call it. Especially in matters relating to my health. Yeah, my higher self, yeah. I get a lot of guidance there in relation to health, and, I just suddenly get the urge to check something out, and I'll find out that it exactly suits whatever it is that I'm having to deal with. And I think, these ascension symptoms are obviously quite common, though not everyone would call them that.
Yeah.
I've had various things like problems with my ears, fatigue, obviously, weight gain, which, people might say, well, you just stop eating so much. I don't eat a lot, really.
Has you obviously your intake hasn't changed, but your weight's changed. I mean, I found that myself as well. I'm not eating. In fact, I'm probably eating less. but
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's quite bizarre. Really, but
I see that as a energetic defense sometimes that we put on to sort of protect our energy field and protect our energy. It's not something that we do consciously, but it's a sort of like an unconscious protective barrier that we create sometimes through that. And I think that many people are experiencing this, and also I think the shift in the frequency impacts our physical vehicle, our bodies, because our bodies are also changing and becoming lighter, and they're adapting to this new high frequency energy, and it could be all to do with that as well.
Yes, I think so. And also because you and I are both on the same page in terms of what we think about current situations, we say it like
Yes.
that, we get attacked probably by people who are not in agreement. I'm in Facebook jail again right now because I posted something.
The badge of honour.
Yeah. Weirdly, yes, because I posted something from a sitting member of Parliament who was questioning something.
Yes.
To do with the thing in the arm.
Well, it doesn't take much, I don't think, does it?
No, and it seems to be escalating.
Yes, yes.
It definitely seems to be escalating. And then my followers now on Instagram have been frozen. You've had that experience, I know. And I see people, more and more people following, and the numbers actually going down.
I know that happens. I was surprised that happens on Telegram, because I would have thought that was relatively insulated from all of that. But I see people joining all the time and the numbers never change.
It's very strange, and it does make me wonder just how independent Telegram actually is.
Exactly.
Because I do sometimes, sorry, I'm just topping up my coffee. I sometimes wonder whether these alternative networks aren't a way of gathering information, excuse me, on people who are alternative.
Yes, exactly.
Because it's like we're all in one place.
You don't know for sure. I've noticed too some interesting reports come out since a certain Prime Minister with the letter B in his name who just resigned.
Oh, yeah.
We know who that is.
Yes.
I don't think we can use names, so I'm being creative here.
Let's just say Bojo. We can get away with that, probably. Everybody
yes.
in the UK will know.
Yeah. And so since that happened, a report came out confirming that the people that have had this account for 94% of all the people that have, passed since April.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to say that?
Yes, I'm just thinking we've got to be really careful here, haven't we?
I can edit that bit out and reword it. Since the people that have gone bye-byes, is that another way of saying it?
Let's say the people who have...
we need to use, what are they called? When you do it with your hands, what's that called?
Mime.
It sounds like.
Okay, yes.
Sounds like. But anyway, I think people will be following along. So 90% of which had 3 of these or 4 of these. So, and that all came out just when that happened. So it's interesting how, when something big happens, something else gets quietly, revealed under the carpet and tried to be sort of hushed up at the same time. So
I know, and it's all part of the game, really, isn't it? Because you don't really know whoever comes in to replace that person is probably, it's already been arranged, it's prearranged. They're all kind of playing their part and say, okay, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to step down, and then you're going to take my place, and this is going to happen. It's all kind of scheduled, I think.
Absolutely. And I just heard something else fascinating, just while we're on global news, that somebody with the little T in their name, that was the head of a country, a big country, has signed an EO. You know what EOs are?
Yes. I know what an EO is, yes.
Has just signed one saying that any company that has Chinese, any sort of Chinese backing is going to be prosecuted and taken down, which basically covers so many of the corporations and the companies and all of the media as well. So if that's the case, they say within 24 hours to 2-3 days or something, that they'll all go down. So that'll be interesting.
Wow. Well, I mean, how are things in Australia right now? Because it's been quite torrid for you guys, hasn't it?
It has been. Well, you know, I'm really happy because I've moved somewhere really, really special.
Oh, yes.
And this background will give you an idea. It's pretty much looks like that. So
Oh, wow.
very tropical. So I'm happy with that. And I'm just making my mosaics and doing some videos and things, trying to keep abreast of everything, but also keeping my own life in a high frequency and, you know, doing the things that I love. So that's my antidote to everything that's going on. But, you know, we did just have an election with a new Prime Minister.
Yes.
Albanese came in, and so the shenanigans are continuing, of course. Many states, quite a few states, have extended the state of emergency for virtually no reason whatsoever. And, you know, of course, all the true statistics based on this, the true figures are all hushed up. And, you know, there are a small amount of doctors trying to, and a few nurses trying to make people aware. But, you know, of course, they're being threatened and intimidated with censorships and everything else, and their careers and their, you know, incomes and everything. And you know, the shelves are being affected by the food situation as well. You know, sometimes the supermarkets don't have all the goods that they normally would, and so we can see quite a few different things happening like that. I feel personally that there's a lot of good things happening. You know, when I saw the GG being targeted and taken down, the stone,
yes,
big stones.
That was rather interesting. I was shocked and delighted in both equal.
Well, I was waiting for that to happen. I thought that felt to me like something. Another thing that I feel could happen would be that the European leader starting with M. Macrame, sounds like macrame, and the and the other one in Canada, starting with T. Yes. I feel that they're both going to be potentially, you know, not in their positions too much longer. That's what it feels like, and you know, a lot of good things like that. You know, with things happening around the world, and of course the Vatican under Rome, there's been all this smoke and fire, which, you know, many people say is the DUMBSs being,
yes,
you know, kapow. So that would be a huge, one of the key places for that to be cleared out, and maybe they left that to last, you know. So who knows? But I feel that there's a lot going on underneath that's really, really positive. And it feels like it's building up to a bit of a crescendo. And I'm hoping that, you know, some big things happen sooner rather than later. How's your intuition on this? How does it feel to you?
Well, the funny thing is, I was thinking I actually feel preternaturally calm. I'm really calm. Mm-hmm. And every now and again, I'll switch into a really, really high vibrational state. It's like a moment of pure bliss. I get it quite a lot during my gong sessions, actually. I
got it during my mosaic class.
It's just like you suddenly kind of lift up. Yeah, and nothing can touch you, and then you kind of dip in and out. I find I'm a little bit like that, dipping in and out of that state. But at the bottom of it all, I'm just really calm.
That's great. I found too, like you say, it's sort of it can be up and down a little bit. You know, with meditation and things, we try and form a relatively steady road with it, but you know, you're human, and you know, you do go up and down. And the other day I did dip down quite deep into, like, I felt my real stuff was coming up, my real shadow stuff was all coming to the surface, and I was thinking about all the things I need to work on myself and everything. It was like, one of those moments. But, you know, I think that's all good too, because that's part of you cleaning out the cupboard and, you know, part of that process as well. Agree. So I think that's happening to people as well. And you always know that when that happens, it doesn't last. Often it doesn't last that long. It will shift relatively quickly, within a day or days. But, by going to that, you're actually helping to transmute it.
Yeah, I heard somebody say that the other day, and I thought, oh yeah, actually that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I know that we pick up more and more on the collective because we're getting more interconnected consciously.
Yes.
But I hadn't really thought of it like that. I transmute things in my own way, I sort of turn things around. What do they call it? Pivot, isn't it? I think something like that. When you feeling bad about something, but then you flip it.
Yes.
So that you can see the positive aspect of it, and then all of a sudden it's gone.
That's true. I also do feel, though, in terms of the emotions that come with these things, often it's really good to be able to feel the depth of the emotion, even if it's sort of like sadness or anger, whatever it is, because then you, when you go to the depth of that emotion, you actually can transmute it more easily. Because if you don't really feel it, sometimes you can be just sort of, in a sense, suppressing it, and then it still stays within you on some level. So I also think feeling the emotions, the emotions are energy in motion. So it's like the ability to feel is part of being a human being, and when we're able to really feel things, we can move through them quite quickly.
Yes, I agree. I mean, you've had we've all had, I think, some emotional traumas that have actually been teachers, I think.
Absolutely. Yes.
Because I've been through quite a few, nothing like what you've been through. Actually, I don't know if you want to talk about that or not. But I've grown so much through all of them. And in fact, I used to think, God, I've wasted my life. I've done a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and I've not made a career, career like you're supposed to have a career, right? And I used to think, oh gosh, I don't want to stick at something, and but the thing is, when you can do more than one thing, as you know, it gets quite challenging to focus on that one thing.
One thing, absolutely,
get bored.
Yeah.
You need more stimulation, and B, while you're doing one thing, you're thinking about the other thing that you're not doing. But what was I going to say? So, no, I had an experience a few years ago where I suddenly had a kind of bird's eye view of my life. It was like I was suddenly sitting on top of a mountain, and I was looking down, seeing all these paths, all leading to the point where I was actually sitting. And there were lots of detours and cul-de-sacs and things like that I'd been on. But each one of those paths had given me something that I'm now currently using.
Absolutely. What a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
And I think bypassing the whole 3D matrix is really quite a good thing, because you're leading the way forward on a path that isn't the path that's been trodden by most people. And that's actually going to be beneficial not only for now, but also as we move forward into the golden age and the new earth and a whole new way of being. Those skills will be brilliant. Yeah.
Can't wait. Well, actually, that's another thing. That's another test, isn't it? The patience.
Yes.
Patience.
Yes.
Patience.
Yes. Light workers, healers, starseeds, all those people, that's one of their biggest lessons, I'm sure. I know it's mine as well. But I wanted to go backtrack to what you were saying earlier, because I like to talk about things that are real. And I did the experience, one of the experience I had quite a few actually, but one of them was that I had the death of my baby at birth, as she was to be born just right at that time. And so that was a huge learning curve for me. I just think the whole way the world is set up has been to divide families and to divide people. I mean, one simple thing is that you have to work so hard at earning enough money just to survive that it deeply impacts families and relationships and all the ways that the world's been set up in order to make it really difficult for people to just be in their joy and to have these really interconnected, fantastic relationships and things. It's been set up against all that. So, looking at all those things and I have had some challenges with those issues, of course, and I find now that I can maintain a level of neutrality because I've worked on it so much that now when I think about those things, I'm able to be relatively like an observer, or in you can still be in unconditional love, but in non-attachment. And I think that's the key within where you're triggered, or where you're getting a big reaction to something in a negative way, where you're feeling really sad or angry or some reaction like that. It's an indicator that that's something that needs more work from you. And it's something that you've also, on a soul level, chosen to experience to learn what you need to learn. So I feel like I've really learned a lot in that way, and I'm able to maintain this level of neutrality now, which I couldn't before. And so I'm really thrilled that is the case, because I know that I'm really growing and evolving, in my own being. So, yeah, very interesting.
Speaking about your child that you lost,
yes,
because you're a psychic and a medium, I mean, are you receiving communications at all from that child?
Well, yes, I feel she's with me all the time. If I tune into her, I can connect with her on the inner. I don't tune in all the time with her, but I feel like she's there a lot. But also I know that she has her own path on the other side, and I don't want to interfere with that. So I know she's got things to do on the other side that are important, and I don't want to be monopolizing her time, because I just want to, So there's that aspect to it. When I was going through the earlier times of, working through the grief and everything like that, there were times when I wrote a song about her, and my partner was playing it, and she was bouncing on the bed. The covers were moving up and down, and the bed was going up and down, and she was literally bouncing on the bed. And another time with one of my daughters, we were singing Happy Birthday on her birthday, and the light went out for like a minute. So while we were singing it. So I know that if I call her and I want her to be there, she'll be with me. I know she's one of the sort of spiritual team that are with me a lot, especially in times of, need, when I need more support. But I know she has things to do over there, and that's really important as well. And she feels to me like she's with me very deeply a lot of the time. And in fact, and I know this sound a bit weird, but my children are now in another state, and I'm in another state. And I've invited, my son was keen in coming. I kept inviting him to come up, but, he hasn't come up yet, even though he's wanted to, but he hasn't come up. And so, in some ways she's with me more because, do you know what I'm saying? Because she's in spirit.
There's
she's
no
there.
Distance. Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
whereas they're, in another state. So, yeah, it's a funny thing. And the other thing I would say to that is that family is a concept that has been very 3D. So your family are not just the people that were your birth family. And in fact, often your birth family are souls that you've come in to work through a lot of karma with. There's a lot of karma often in families. So, so we incarnate with birth families for lots of those reasons as well. But we also have our spiritual tribe around us who are our family, and all humanity is our family. Everyone in the world is our family. We're all one consciousness. We're all one. So when you go through situations where you have death in the family like that, in some ways it makes you see a bigger picture that actually, in truth, there is no separation, and we're all interconnected, and we are all one anyway. And even when they're on the other side, we're still connected, and there is no separation. So, yeah, that's how I view it.
It's interesting, going back a little bit to something that you said while you were explaining all of that. We're talking about the interconnectivity, is that the word? Of everything, and I'm more and more seeing that this kind of online communication, it's a quantum thing. Okay, it's not just the internet thing, but we are connecting energetically.
Yes,
and speaking of which, I'm gonna say this so that we both remember, because I want to talk about Uluru and the what's it called again? Not the Plumed Serpent, the other one.
The Rainbow Serpent.
Yes, let me just check my
Yes.
notes. Yeah, Rainbow, yeah, exactly, the Rainbow Serpent.
Yes.
And that connection with Glastonbury, with Avebury, with all these, with the Michael Mary line in the UK, this major ley line that transits right through
Yes.
the lower part of the UK. So anyway, just saying that so neither of us forgets.
Okay.
I wanted
sure.
to talk about this, the quantum effect,
The quantum relationship.
Quantum, yeah, and the fact that I'm trying to explain to people why it is, for example, when some people listen to my recordings of gongs, that they actually feel the physical effects.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I have clients around the world. I have clients globally, and I work with their energy, and it's exactly the same as if they were standing in the room with me, or if they're online. There's
even
no
more
difference.
so, don't you find?
Sorry?
Even more? Don't you find even more?
Yeah,
There's no barrier.
absolutely. And you really focus energetically on them, and it's extremely powerful. You know, you feel their energy so strongly, and like you say, when you're connecting around the world online, it's has so many impacts on so many levels. That connection, you're unifying your quantum fields. You're expanding, like say we're both feeling sort of a loving energy, we're expanding that in the world together. And you know, we wouldn't be able to do that unless we had that online relationship where we can connect in this way. It would be, I mean, I guess you could talk on the phone, but when you can see someone and talk to them, it's just
easier, I suppose. If you
yeah,
can see the person,
it is.
isn't
It is.
But
I mean, again,
you can do it.
You can do it easily, the same on the phone as not. But I don't know, there's just something with it that really makes you able to connect with like-minded souls, you know, our spiritual family, in a way that's so beautiful and effortless. And so I think the internet perhaps potentially was created for, you know, negative or nefarious.
Do you know, I don't think it was originally. I think that the guy, it was Tim Berners-Lee who invented it.
Yes.
I don't think he was nefarious at all. But
No. But they were trying to hijack it for that purpose. But it's actually in the other way, it's gone and it's created this incredible connection with all people around the world, and expanded the light and the ability for us to liberate ourselves from control. Yeah. So it's worked in a different way to what they anticipated.
I mean, look at this. I mean, there you are in Australia, for goodness sake. And I'm in London.
Yes, absolutely.
That's amazing.
I know. I was so excited to chat with you today too. I was really looking forward to it. So, you know, I mean, that raises my joy all day. I'm excited thinking about it, and then I'm putting that out in the world, you know, when we're all doing that. It's great.
Well, actually, this is a better time of day for me because, you know, around about 11 p.m. I'm ready for bed, really. That's my natural bedtime.
Yes.
So I was struggling. I've been drinking coffee all day to try and stay alert enough to be able to have a good chat with you. And then we got our timings mixed up. You know, it was fine. No, so this actually works better because it's it's daylight where you are, it's daylight where I am.
Excellent.
So it kind of feels a bit more balanced, you know. So
yes,
I'm happy about that.
Yes. Another synchronicity too. I've just started working on a whole lot of beautiful mosaic things, projects, and you've got all these lovely mosaic tiles behind you. So, but another synchronicity.
Oh yes, you know, I don't, because they're not actually tiles; it's fabric.
Oh really?
It's a piece of. It's just stapled onto a wooden frame.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Completely fake. I forgot. I was thinking, what's she talking about?
It's very Moroccan.
And I remembered. Yeah. And you know, I picked it up because I have my office is in my bedroom. I don't want to share my bedroom with the world. Right? So I picked up this screen.
I can understand.
Secondhand, yeah, you can understand that, right? So and then I thought actually my intention was to cover it with other things, but I like it as it is.
It's lovely, beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful.
It's kind of joyful.
Yes, it is. It really is. Anything with colour is lovely. So shall we talk about what we call it Uluru, which is the huge rock red rock in Northern Territory, which many think is the sort of like a spiritual birthplace, really energetically. So, what would you like to chat about?
Well, I just wanted to chat around it because I think there's another reason why we might be connecting, because energetically the land masses are actually connected.
Yes. Yes.
Through I think Glastonbury, I think is it the heart chakra? I can't remember off the top of my head. Did I write it down?
I love Glastonbury. That really calls to me. You know, the Avalon times, the Camelot times, that beautiful divine goddess energy. It really calls to me. I'd love to go and visit there.
It's an interesting place. That's where I went. That's where I met Huna Flash, actually. He was doing this burning mask thing.
Yes.
And it's a very hippie town, let's say that.
Yes,
but
beautiful.
The land itself and the natural springs. There are 2 springs there that are sacred.
The water sources
and the white
that
spring,
divine.
Yeah.
It's got they create that divine feminine source energy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. The energy. It's particularly. I mean, I haven't actually. To be fair, I haven't been to the Chal as well because it's quite usually full of people, and I prefer to go to places that are less popular, really. So I went to the White Spring, but I found it really magical. And I think, for anyone who's a healer or a seer or any kind of energy worker, would be drawn to that place because there is so much there. But there's also, there's darkness hidden underneath. It's a lot of psychics who do deep earth healing work are working on, because these points, I think particularly I've heard people talk about obelisks and towers and how they
Stonehenge, a lot of
Stonehenge,
dark ceremonial stuff that's gone on there.
Yeah, that needs to be healed. And there are apparently, what's his name again? Is it Aldevar? I can't remember his name. Alabar, yes. Yes.
I interviewed him.
Dave Jones? Did you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, yes, you did. Yes, I listened to it, actually.
Yes, we're in touch. He's lovely. He lives actually not that... Well, I've just moved and I'm on an island? I wasn't really...
Oh, are you? Okay.
I literally am. But he's down Byron Bay way around there. And he does some wonderful work. He's been doing a lot just recently, and some with a wonderful Master Hawk that I also chat to.
Yes, I haven't really investigated him very much, but he's just got a lovely vibe.
He has.
He looks adorable.
Beautiful, yes.
Just energy is really special.
Yes.
And have you heard of a lady called, what's her name, Lisa Renee?
Yes, she does great work, really good work.
She does, yeah. And there's also Lucia Renee, who wrote a book, really good book, I highly recommend it, called Escaping the Patriarchy.
Yes.
It's not a new book, but she also goes around the world untangling.
Yes, she has some great things that she says that are like invocations to create a more mindful, higher reality. Yeah, disconnecting from the old systems. Yeah.
Yes, and undoing them. I'm not sure how much of this we should probably talk about, but undoing the machinations.
Yes,
like that.
Yes,
and restoring.
Lucky we've got a big vocabulary, hey?
Yeah,
lots of words we can draw from.
I know. So restoring things to their right balance and harmony. Harmony. We need harmony, and we need harmony between the genders. We need harmony between countries. This is what I think we're both probably trying to do, is to bring that balance and harmony back.
Definitely.
To awaken that connection to the planet, the true connection, the real deep connection. That
I guess in some way it's really reflected too in people's opinions about this. So people who are pro this and people who are not this, you know, everyone has the right to their own opinion and the right to their own choice. And it's about, even if it doesn't align with your own belief system, you know, it's so important to learn to honour and respect other people's opinion, even on, I don't know if respect is the right word, but to honour and allow them to have a platform to speak their truth in the way that you would choose to speak your truth freely as well. And I had this talk to my father, who is, you know, had 3 or 4 now, I think 4 now, and who's pro this. But we had that conversation where, you know, we both said that, you know, we love each other and we have a very, very different viewpoints, like he's 92, just turned. But it's so important to be able to have a conversation that is constructive on that topic, you know, and that you can finish that conversation and still have the same love and the same connection that you had prior to that conversation, because it shouldn't impact, you know, how we feel about one another if someone has a different viewpoint about something. And, you know, something like that can be extremely divisive, of course, because it's about life and death in many of our opinions. But that is the test too at the moment, to be able to maintain a level of maturity, you know, emotional maturity, to be able to honour one another's viewpoints, even if they are completely opposing.
This is it. I know. I mean, I've had that with my ex. I actually had to unfriend him on Facebook because he wouldn't allow me my opinion.
Exactly.
But then he wants to tell me that I'm closing him down. And I said, okay, well, you know, we won't be friends on Facebook, but it doesn't mean I'm not your friend. We're still friends. We still actually, we go out, we go and see concerts together. We do a lot together still.
Yes.
And I care about him, even though he's my ex. You know, I don't have any bad feelings towards him whatsoever. We just don't talk about that.
Yes. And that's so important, to be able to come to that sort of level of maturity, I think, with everything, you know, that as we move forward in a more advanced earth.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, you know, because if you have had a relationship that didn't work out, you don't have to suddenly become their enemy.
No,
I've never understood that. I never in my life. I'm friends with pretty much all my exes, the ones that are still alive.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
We're friends.
Fantastic. Yes.
And I don't understand people who suddenly hate the person that they loved. You know, how can you? It can't be love if you then hate subsequently.
And very much a sort of an immature defence mechanism that people are, you know, acting out. You know, if they're doing
totally.
That. Yeah. So, what's it like? What's the atmosphere like in the UK at the moment? How are people feeling, do you think, about things?
Yeah, I think. Well, at the moment I'm sort of in neutral, so I don't engage because I work for myself as well, so I spend a lot of time working on my own business. I interact with people in social situations, but I'm not really mixing. I don't mix with people who are kind of fully enmeshed with the 3D, we call it that, the 3D reality.
Sure.
So I couldn't give a total picture. I can only give a picture of what I experience. And my experience is that lots of people are actually feeling quite light.
Great.
The people that I interact with, whether they're actual friends or whether just acquaintances, they seem to be quite light, quite sort of upbeat.
Right.
Yeah. There isn't a sense of doom, despite the fact that keeps getting pushed. I don't feel that. Yeah, I don't feel that sense of doom.
Yes.
In the general vibe.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, but I can't speak for everybody because I don't mix with people who buy into the whole fear thing. You know, I don't mix with those people, and even in my family, we don't talk about it. because I'm the only one who hasn't had the, you know what.
Yeah.
We just don't talk about it. We're just there for each other if we need each other.
Yeah.
And we love each other.
Yes.
That's it. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. Such an interesting time, isn't it?
Oh my gosh. I mean, there have been moments when I thought, I don't know how I'm going to endure this. I've had those moments.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone has.
Very calm.
Yeah. You're just over it. Occasionally times when you're just over it and you go, oh, just hurry up and get to the new world for you.
I know, but I suppose, yeah. But the thing is that the amount of time that it's been, that it's taken to be installed, it couldn't disappear overnight, because there's a huge amount of work to do in order to restore things to the way they should be.
That's right. Just imagine sort of deconstructing a whole system, a whole planetary system, and then reconstructing it again in a different way that's much more in alignment with you know, justice and humanity and fairness and equality and peace and all those qualities. Yeah.
This is it's going to be very interesting, and I kind of feel like we are in the holding. Not the holding pen sounds wrong. That sounds like an imprisonment. I don't mean that.
Like a little bit of limbo.
Like a sort of preparatory chrysalis. That's better. Chrysalis kind of state.
Yes.
Because I'm thinking, God, you know, because I burned myself out earlier this year because I hadn't been replenishing my energy, been sort of giving out, and also doing all the processing of all this, you know, the sort of things that we talk about.
Yes.
And not really having a community around me who could replenish me. So I actually had to take a lot of time off, which was frustrating for me, but I couldn't actually do anything about it because I had no energy. And that's, you know, when we did our first interview, I was right in the thick of it then. I had no energy at all. And I couldn't think straight. I couldn't achieve anything. But now I'm beginning to shift out of that. But I think, you know, there's a reason that we're in this kind of state. It's almost like we're in the birth canal, kind of.
Yes.
You know?
I find I can't think as clearly as I normally would. There's things I don't remember, really simple things. My memory's not working as well.
Yes.
You know, and I'm thinking...
forget the name of simple things. Right?
You know, things that are quite obvious, like, oh, good Lord, what's going on? But I do feel like this is part of the ascension symptoms, and that when we go into fifth dimensional reality, you're very much, one of the qualities of that is you're very much in the moment. It's all about the present moment, being in it, completely absorbed in the now, and you don't focus on the past. In 3D, people often look back to the past and things like that, but now it's just everything's in the now. So I think that's one of the reasons why we can't think, because I have so many people, so many clients say this to me as well. They can't think as clearly and they can't have that recall that they used to have, because we're actually learning to be 100% present in the now, and in some ways you just sort of forget what's happened in the past. And I had a girlfriend say to me, we knew each other at uni, and she said to me, oh, I remember when you came to my 21st, and do you remember when da-da-da-da happened at my 21st? And I said, oh, my gosh, darling, I can't even remember what happened yesterday. Don't ask me about the 21st. so that's sort of like what I can say about that. But, I mean, I think it's a positive thing, because I think that we're just really, our energy is really shifting. It's really evolving. It's really growing. And that's a positive sign. Either that or I've got dementia.
No, that thought crossed my mind as well. I thought, oh, my God, I hope I'm not losing my marbles. No, but this is why, you know, that little film I sent you, this is why I decided to make that. You know, I channeled it last year.
Yes.
And then I thought, I just had the urge to make it into a little film, so perhaps I'll share it later.
That is so beautiful. I'd love everyone to see it at the end of this chat.
Yeah, I can share the trailer version, the slightly shorter version.
Okay, is that the one that I can put on the end? That's a good one. Yeah, perfect. It's so beautiful. So everyone watch it at the end. I think you'll love it. And I can see...
It's got light language in it. This is actually the first time I'd actually recorded myself doing light language. Hadn't done it before, and I thought, okay, if there's ever a time to do it, now's the time.
It's beautiful, and the words are lovely that you channeled, and the message, obviously, the content, and then, of course, the images that go with it as well. Really, really beautiful. Well done. It's lovely. And if I could just mention to people too that I've set up a community, because you were talking earlier about how people want to be part of community now, and I think that's really true. So I had quite a few clients say to me, "Oh, look, I feel isolated, I feel alone, I feel like I need to talk to people that are on the same page," because a lot of the people around them were people that were doing this and they weren't on that page.
Exactly.
So I set up a Patreon community, and it has beautiful members, and they do amazing things, and I share, their work and their businesses, and I do lots of interesting posts about things happening in the world, and there's different levels that you can join as well. And I also have groups like a soul healing group that does healing for Australia, but also ourselves, and also for the globe, for the world, and also a community chat. So if people just want to get on and chat about what's happening in the world, they can join as well. And
sounds great, yeah.
Thank you. So it's I've had people, members saying that they're really enjoying it, really loving it. So please feel welcome to check it out, everyone that's listening. I'll put a link below, and I'm
going to sign up for that, actually, because it's not time specific, is it?
No, it's not time specific. It's just, you just join, you can pay, $3 even, is the basic level, and then you're on board, and then, but there's different levels with different offers. So, I'm welcoming everyone, inviting everyone, because the more people there, the more we'll have to offer one another, and
exactly.
it's going to be great. Yeah.
And one thing that you haven't actually specifically talked about is the other aspects of the work that you do. Because you're a spiritual counsellor, aren't you? You're a healer.
Yes.
There's so many other aspects of what you do as well.
Oh, thank you for asking, Alicia. Well, I guess what you could say is I have clients who come to me with all sorts of issues about what's happening in their life. And basically what I do is I read your energy field, and then I pick up what's the priority, what's the most important thing, what it is we do, healing work on it, energetic healing work. I've got some high beings that I work with that come through and do some work on this. And then I also give resources, tools and information for people to empower themselves and to go home and do continued work on themselves if they choose. And we cover a lot of territory in a 1 hour session, and it can also incorporate, there's like 100 different techniques and things that come up, for people, but past lives can be part of it. It can be also things like I can read their Akashic records. There's things like, relationships can come up, financial stuff, abundance issues. It can be health issues, all sorts of things. But it's fascinating because you hold that all in your energy. You're the co-creator. And when you go in and shift your energy on the inner, you shift the external. And that's the way to really make big accelerated progress.
This is how it's going to happen.
Exactly.
When people realise it's down to them. It's not down to an outside force. It's down to them.
Exactly.
As an individual. And again, that's why I made the film. It's down to everybody to wake themselves up, even if they think they're already awake. To make sure to really look.
There's always something to work on.
And honestly, the authenticity, integrity, and self-honesty.
Yes.
Are like you can't avoid those. One can't avoid those, not you. I know you're there already. But it's just vital. Right now.
Absolutely. It takes courage, doesn't it?
It does take courage to really look at yourself.
It does. I remember making that choice when I was about 30, just a few years ago. Not really, but anyway. And I remember saying to myself, I'm going to go in and I'm going to confront all the things about myself that I haven't really looked at to that point, you know. And then I went in fully, and I went in the deepest way I possibly could to truly go and look at every single thing that I felt needed addressing. And I have since that time continued to work on things because it never ends. But it was a conscious choice because it was like I armoured up and then I went in and I did it. And you know what? It's been such a brilliant resource or help for me at this time with everything happening on the planet. Because I'd done all that work on myself, I was therefore more capable of being able to really work with clients and to support clients through this process and through doing this work as well, because I'd put so much intense time into working on myself. And, you know, it can be quicker now to work on it because of the energies and the frequency. You know, it is quicker to work through stuff. And things like, you know, working with the Lords of Karma, you can ask for karmic releases and dispensations rather than having to physically trawl through karma. You can do things like reframing, where you have a traumatic incident in your life and you can reframe it using certain tools, and then you can completely release any cellular trauma related to it, so that when you think about it again, you're not triggered and it's neutral. There's so many important things we need to do. Forgiveness is another really key one at the moment.
That's
too.
a big one, isn't it? Yeah.
Huge, where it's really important to just make sure that every single human being that you've encountered in this lifetime, or that you remember from previous lifetimes, you've gone in and done the work to completely forgive, so that you're completely neutral, and you don't do it necessarily for the other person, you do it for yourself, because that means you're clear.
Well, you're not,
and then
you're not holding it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. And I remember hearing about this incredible villager from a village in it was in the South Pacific or something, but there was this these marauders that came in, and I remember hearing that they murdered everyone in the village, but this person was out in the forest at the time, so they escaped and they came back, and all the villagers that they knew, all the family and people that they knew were murdered. And so this being just then went and worked on forgiveness for the people that came in and did that, and was able to get to this complete state of forgiveness and non attachment, neutrality for the people that did that, and to be able to forgive them. And I mean, that to me is a huge symbol for what humankind are capable of, to be able to get to that level. And when you think someone can do that, it shows that pretty much all of us can do it in some way.
We're going to be asked to do that very soon, I think.
That's so true. That's so true. That's a fantastic
comes
point.
Out.
Exactly. Exactly. Especially if people are not aware of what's been going on and how we actually have been, you know, there have been people working against us being alive that don't want us here, you know, and we're going to be asked to go to the deepest levels of grace to be able to forgive these beings. Some of them aren't even human, I don't think, and be able to not hold on to anger or resentment with that.
It's going to be a big challenge, but I think that's why we're in this hiatus right now.
Yes.
It's sort of
building our reserves, perhaps.
Building our reserves,
Yes.
Working up to it, because you know it's coming. You can kind of feel it. I don't know, where do I think? I think we're kind of like 2/3 of the way up the mountain right now.
Sure, yes, absolutely. And it's trusting that divine timing as well, because, you know, we don't have, we're not the divine, we're not God, we don't have that, we're part of God, but we don't have that full picture of everything, so that we can see the full scope of what's going on. So on some level, it's about trusting and not allowing the negative information that's out there to go in and really damage your equilibrium too much, you know.
Absolutely, that's a good point.
I
should say my website
is
absolutely
hushhour.com.
.net. So hush hour meaning giving yourself time. It's taking time out for yourself, to allow yourself to breathe, to allow yourself to stop and stop rushing about. It's the opposite of rushing. So that's why the title. And my logo is the pause button. And my website can be found everywhere in the world, of course, and there are recordings of meditations and gong baths now available. Some are free, some are not. And maybe I should start a Patreon, actually. I haven't really
Yes,
looked into it
absolutely.
too much, but
And I'll put your link below. So Alicia's link
please
is below.
do, yes.
And also my link's below. So
Yes.
for Alicia's audience, I have medyhne.com. But you've got to check the spelling because nobody can spell my name. So Medyhne. And so if you go to my website there, I've got artwork for sale, I've got books, I've got sessions, and I've got my Patreon community, and also, you know, the YouTube channel link. And so for anyone out there, would love you to subscribe to my channel and like and share. I'm getting, again, shadow banned on that. So the numbers had been going down a bit.
Subscribe to my YouTube as well, please.
Yes, both of ours. Yes, beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful to chat with you. Could chat all day.
Yes, I know.
And we'll do another one soon as well.
Yes.
That would be lovely.
Cool.
So thank you everyone for listening and for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And leave a comment below because I love your comments as well, and how you're going at the moment. And if anybody wants to contact us, our details will be below. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks, Medyhne. Thank you.
Thanks. Beautiful. Bye.